Welcome back to Coffee and Conversation. No coffee today because it's still quite warm, but this is sparkling ice. The reason I have that is because one of our viewers very kindly and politely called me out on my soda drinking. Now, as I say, it was kind, it was polite, it was clearly well intended. And the fact is, she's right. I drink too much soda. And I justify it by saying, oh, well, it's sugar-free. How bad can it be? But there are a whole lot of other chemicals in soda. And yeah, pretty much everybody agrees it's not good for you. Oh, we have company coming. Can you see the shadows? All right. Yep. Okay, the tail. Yep, come on. It's okay. All right, there you go. He's been making himself comfortable on my desk rather a lot lately. And this bionic tail of his is knocking things over. And of course, I'm sitting at my desk, so he would like to be in my lap. And he will crawl over everything I am doing. If I'm doing work on my desk, oh well, too bad, because a cat needs attention. So here, turn around, let them see you. There we go. He did it himself. I didn't have to grab his little face and turn it around. So we have Audie with us. The weather is changing. Now, it's very interesting because it always changes, usually pretty dramatically, right around my birthday. And if you stop and think about it, the end of August, beginning of September, in most areas along the eastern seaboard, that's when the weather starts changing. And as I mentioned yesterday, this is a pivotal time for me. It's usually the time my year begins. And that started off when I was a child with an academic year. And it just stayed with me, later, life in academia. And now it's my birthday, the weather is changing, and Audie the cat changes his attitude with the changing weather. I don't think he's particularly comfortable with the idea of changing weather. He doesn't like it when it suddenly gets warm. He doesn't like it when it starts to get cool. And all things considered, for a predator, which is what cats are, weather changes probably do represent a change in their ability to hunt, their ability to sleep safely, things like that. So I get it. Basically, I am dealing with my cat's little reptilian brain. Anyway, back to the non-soda. Yes, I've said this before. You folks are better than any therapist I could find because, first of all, I'm not 100% sure a therapist would A, call me out on my soda drinking, or B, do it so nicely. But yes, you folks keep me focused. Thank you. And I am taking it to heart because, in fact, I've got a whole fridge full of those sparkling water bottles. And maybe there will be a significant improvement in my health. It certainly can't hurt. So before we break for the intro, just very quickly, the yellow is strictly confined to the earrings today. Yellow for Catherine, yellow for Lex's mom, yellow for everyone battling cancer. We're throwing all our best wishes out for you. And thank you all for the birthday wishes. Funny thing is, I woke up this morning being 70 and feeling about 22. My grandmother used to say the same thing to me. I just don't feel as old as I am. Well, neither do I. So I guess that's a good thing. I suppose it's a lot better than waking up 22 and feeling 70. All right, we're going to break for the intro and we'll be right back. So, cat fur. I just picked this off my shirt. It is a little bit of cat fur, and it's sort of formed into a little, like a ring. I suspect this is something that came off one of Audie's claws from when he was grooming himself, which this time of year he starts doing that with a vengeance, and it's really quite funny to watch. Before we get into the topic of the video, we have an unboxing. So, this is from Steph, and here, let me show you. This is why we need the knife, because I am not going to tear through. Can you see? All those Audie cats. So I gotta sort of sneak this in so that I can tear the envelope without tearing the kitties. You know what? I'm going to try it from the other side. I am so bad at this. I once took a letter opener and actually tore through an important business document. I didn't mean to. It's just that letter openers are not my friends. So, let's see what we get out of here. All right. Oh, and there's tape on the boxes, so there's more. Now, let's see what... Oh, we've got a cat. I taught the cat a trick in honor of your birthday. Whoa! Look at all the little kitty stickers. Oh, and there's more. She included a little package of them. So I am going to be knee-deep in little Audies. He's not going to do it, of course. Not on your birthday. Maybe later. Probably never. This card was clearly made by someone who speaks cat. And unfortunately, I cannot read this. I'm going to have to magnify it later, but let me get the bottom part. Happy birthday, Sue. I hope you have a wonderful birthday, Steph. So, thank you, Steph. And now we're on to the goodies. Stephanie is a jewelry maker, and she has a shop, Stephanie's Baubles and Beads. Beads and Baubles. I always get that wrong. And she makes some really, really interesting jewelry items, as well as some wonderful beaded goodies. I have an Audie cat, a beautiful little black cat that she beaded for me, and a llama. Oh, I love that llama. And I was looking around for them before I started this video, but they are in my Christmas box because I put them on the Christmas tree. And I thought, oh goodness, is it worth it to get a ladder, dig out the Christmas box, and spend an hour going through it for those pieces? And the answer is, I will do it, just not today. We'll find a day that isn't quite so hot. Oh my gosh, here, look at this. There's a note on this that says, "Hi Sue, I hope this one makes you smile. I found the pieces while designing your jewelry and could not resist." Okay. So once again, I was saying this about Colleen reading my mind. Well, very clearly, Steph knew where we were going today too, because here we've got a little bottle of Coke. The bottle of Coke that I am no longer drinking. That is actually very, very funny. And we've got more Audie cat. Now, where's my knife? This box was taped. Oh my goodness. We have non-stop extra earrings. This is like, oh, this is very steampunky. A key with a wonderful little gear. And here, we have this great little black bauble. Oh, and this is another one that is, please, not now. This is not for you. This is another little bauble. I'm not sure, but I think that might be a cat on a moon. And a little pearl. So, the first thing we know is Steph pays attention because I use single earrings. I only have 3 holes in my ears. The 2 for the little pearls here, and then the extra one that holds my ever-changing lucky earring. And now, look at this. I have an entire collection of extra earrings. So thank you, Steph. This is great. And now, for the big box, let's see what's in here. And again, we've got a boatload of kitty cats. Okay. Ooh. Don't fall. Stay right there. Okay, let's get that out. Steampunk gloriousness. This is wonderful. I hope you can see it. I hope the screen is properly lit for you, but let's get that out here. And the key, come on, everybody. Get out where you're supposed to be. My bad, I got it backwards. Here. Maybe this is how it goes. Yes, okay, that's how it goes. Beautiful steampunk piece. And so here. Sorry about that. It took me a while to fiddle this on. But yes, here is the piece. There we go. So, and we've got one more. Look at this. This is wonderful. Steph does a lot of jewelry. She just designs it as she goes, from interesting found bits and pieces, and these are great. My fondness is for steampunk, and this blends right into the aesthetic, and I love them all. This is wonderful. So thank you, Steph. Okay, we're going to take a quick break because I want to put these. Audie is hovering over the boxes, and I need to put this stuff away before a cat just makes my day by dumping everything all over the place. So, quick break, and I'll be right back. So I wanted to follow up on what I had started yesterday. I had a full video planned out, but we spent half of yesterday unboxing. We spent half of today unboxing. So I guess we're just going to have to consider this a sort of part 1, part 2. Yesterday, I was explaining that 18 months ago, well, actually, it was the beginning of 2023, so it's more like 20 months ago, I had decided I was going to revamp my wardrobe, which is to say, create a wardrobe, because I was tired of sitting around in sweatpants all day long. And as I mentioned yesterday, I approached it very intellectually, which is not a good idea, but it is, in fact, how I approach just about everything, because I am convinced that given enough math, you can make things work. Well, no, I'm sorry, no. I went through the list of clothing that I had created in early 2023 based on what I thought my needs would be. And I had determined that I had all these different categories of activities for which I would need dedicated clothing items. Well, that turned out not to be the case. And I think I have like 7 categories. In reality, I have 3. I have sleep clothes. I need sleep clothing. It's that simple. We all do. I have casual clothing, just informal stuff that you wear around the house, that you wear to the store, that you wear to the doctor's office. And as you can see, there are different levels of that. You might not wear the things you would consider suitable for around the house to the store. You might not wear the clothes to the store to the doctor's office or downtown to stop in at City Hall for whatever reason. I actually do that rather a lot. No. So there are varying levels, but they all very neatly fit into the casual clothing category. And then I have the clothing I need when I go out walking. And that is purpose-driven. It has to be comfortable. It has to be cool for the summer, warm for the winter, because it's 5 in the morning when I'm out there. And it has to be neon colors. Again, 5 in the morning. And we don't have streetlights in my area. Part of the area that I walk in does have streetlights, but that is only about half of it. So I am ordinarily spending a half an hour, so that's about 1.5 miles for me, spending about 1.5 miles with no lighting. 5 o'clock in the morning, I will be lucky if 2 or 3 of the houses I pass by even have lights on. There are a few who do, and I know who they are. I know who the early birds are, but they are few and far between. So that clothing has to be totally purpose-driven. It has to be something I can walk in, something that will show up against a dark background. So yeah, spunk-eyed pink. And I have always referred to that as, fashions by Bozo, because I really do dress like a clown. I will very often grab like really, really bright shorts and a clashing sweatshirt, But again, there's a method to the madness. Other than that, no. That's all I need. But I didn't see it that way when I was taking pen to paper, or actually, I was taking fingers to keyboard, typing up what I thought I was going to need. Interestingly enough, and we started with this yesterday, I found that I was absolutely correct about how many nightgowns and bathrobes I would need. I need 2 nightgowns. I need 2 bathrobes. That's it. And mostly I need them because, when one's in the wash, I'm wearing the other one. That's simple. I was misled about my need for sleep socks. I need more than 1 pair. And I've addressed that, by the way. So we'll talk about that when we talk about socks. But I was really spot on with the sock exception in terms of sleepwear. Also, that, even though it is one of my largest, it's tied for one of my largest clothing categories, it is small. Even with the 2 extra pair of socks I threw in, that is 7 articles of clothing in which I am spending 42% of my day. So we're getting close to half my day in 7 items of clothing. I thought when I started this, now I started my list with sleepwear. I don't know why I did that, but I did. Started my list with sleepwear when I was preparing it. And that, I believe, is why I was so conservative with the number of socks I added to the list. I thought I was being ultra conservative with the whole thing because, I was just getting started and it's like, well, you don't really need that. And I was feeling very disciplined and I'm just going to go for this and I'm going to do minimalism and whatever other crazy ideas I had in my head. But it worked. So that was a huge learning experience in two ways. One, the sock thing, which we'll get to, and the fact that I actually did get one category correct. I did. I'm still amazed at that because I was off base on other categories. And now this is where we get into socks. I had decided that I needed one pair of sleep socks and I needed 4 pair of socks for going out walking, my activity wardrobe, active wear. That's what it is. Walking, basically, that's what it is. It's my walking wardrobe. I decided I needed 4 pair of socks. And then I decided I needed 6 pair of socks in my casual clothing category. That is a total of 11 pair of socks. Yeah. Okay. Well, here's the thing. 20 months later, I have over 30 pair of socks. Yep. I just went nuts on the socks. I have some justifications, some rationalizations, some excuses for why this happened. And one of them, which I think is probably the only one, no, there are 2 that have merit. One of them is that one of the companies I buy socks from sells them in sets, in groups, a pack of 4 socks. And if you want to get certain colors, you really have to buy a pack of 4 and get 3 colors you don't want to get the 1 color you do. That's sort of... Oh, and by the way, some of those socks are simply not available singly. I have called and asked them, nope, you want it, you got to get the other 3 pair. So, yeah, okay, fine. I guess if I really absolutely had to have that particular pair of socks. Well, the truth is I didn't. I thought I did, but I ended up buying socks. The other thing is, even with socks you can get singly from this company, you get a better deal if you buy them 4 at a time, usually in little packets. So again, you'll end up with socks you don't want. My justification for that is, fine, I don't want gray socks, but I can throw them into my, walking around in the community wardrobe. Because after all, you're out. It doesn't matter if the socks are gray or purple or polka dotted because it's 5 in the morning. Nobody's going to see you. And if they don't match what you're wearing, so much the better because high contrast. But I don't think that is really what it is. I think those are just my justifications. I think what it is this little screw loose in my head that says you must find the perfect sock. Absolutely. Gotta get the perfect sock. It can't be like a second best sock. If it's not perfect, I'm going to continue shopping until I find a perfect sock. And needless to say, I've got 31 pair of socks in there. So, yeah, kind of a problem. Because the company that makes the most comfortable socks, the most practical in terms of comfort and warmth, because these are all wool socks, by the way. Oh yeah, I should throw that one in there. These are all wool socks, so you got to know we're talking anywhere from, I guess, the least expensive I have are probably about $8. I think those are the ones from the company in Germany, going up to $30. Yeah. So, and that's per pair. So yeah, this is a really expensive arena to be experimenting in. Nevertheless, I was doing it. Now, the positive side, for those of you who are sitting back saying, good God, Sue, have you gone completely nuts? It's like, yeah, I have, but not for this reason. Good wool socks are useful. No matter what color they are, no matter what the style, the shade, whatever, they're going to be useful as long as they are doing the practical job for which they were intended, which is keeping your feet warm. Again, we've discussed this. Nothing would please me more than if all of you went out and got good wool socks, mostly because, as I've mentioned, I grew up in the blind community with people who had lost legs to peripheral neuropathy, which goes along with diabetes, also diabetic neuropathy, which is how they ended up in the blind community. I've seen too many people needlessly lose their legs simply because they did not go far enough out of their way to keep their feet warm, especially as they got older. And as we get older, our circulation does get a bit more sluggish. So yeah, I am pro socks. Good quality wool socks will last you several years, but they won't last indefinitely because they are on your feet, they are being crammed into shoes, and you are walking, you are putting stress on them. So if I have 30 pair now, am I really going to have 30 pair in 5 years? Oh, I think not. I think some of these will wear out, some of them will get a little worn, a little threadbare, etc. And they will need replacing. But part of the reason I ended up with 31 pair was because I couldn't find, the perfect sock. The sock that is warm and comfortable, but also attractive and in the colors I want. So yeah. So what's happened on the socks is because I hit that, well, I thought it was 30, by the way, and it was 31. So when I realized I hit 30 pair of socks, I said, this is it, no more socks for you. And I subsequently found another pair of socks, so eek. I took it too far, and now I'm just forcing myself to put the brakes on it. So, yes, maybe the ones that are attractive are not as comfortable or as warm as I would like, and maybe the ones that are warm and comfortable are not as attractive as I would like. Well, too bad. Too bad. This is what we've got. This is what we're dealing with. End of story. My sock experimenting is done. And like I say, the upside is, in time, they are all going to get used. They're not going to waste. They're taking up a lot of space in my drawer, but they're not going to waste. And I suppose I could have learned this lesson in a more, well, that's more expensive than $20 socks, and you have 30 pair of them, That's definitely a lot. I really have to look at that and remember that. I need to carry that around with me when I go clothes shopping for the other perfect thing. And I have a number of items that I am looking for the perfect t-shirt. I want the one perfect t-shirt, and it's going to fit correctly, and it's going to be the right fabric. I prefer linen, and I'm going to be able to find it in all the colors I want, and then I will never have to buy another t-shirt again. See, that's where the screw loose comes in. I approach this, the whole buying clothing, from the point of view that it's one and done, and it's not. It never is, but I just have trouble accepting that. Some of my successes, however, are the shoes. Okay, and here's full disclosure here. I imagine many of you will remember the pair of brown leather clogs that my nostalgia self bought. And that I said, well, they're going into the donation bin. I've had these for a year. I've worn them twice. Now, they weren't very expensive. I think they were about $35, and they're really nice quality shoes. Because again, when I buy it, I price shop the daylights out of it. They escaped from the donation box, and they are back in with my shoes. I decided I just wasn't. Actually, I was holding an entire box of donated goods or donatable goods because I didn't want to get rid of the shoes. So when I started looking at the weather changing and realizing I have 3 pair of shoes in that box, and these are good leather Oxford shoes. It's just they didn't hold up as well as I would have liked. They got shabby, and I'm no longer comfortable wearing them to, the kind of places I would want to wear them to. So they're not working for me anymore. But hey, these are good quality leather Oxford shoes, and it's getting cold out. And I'm in Pennsylvania. We have winter here. We get snow. Those things need to be donated in time to be able to do someone some good this winter. But still, I was holding that back because I didn't want to give up Nostalgia Self's clogs. So eventually I just said, okay, fine, you can keep them. We're going to put them in there. So yes, those shoes are back. And I'm not even clear about why it was so important to me, but I love them. They look just like clogs from the 70s. This is what I remember when I was young, and I want them. And it's not the 70s anymore. I'm the 70s now. That was back when I was in my 20s. So no, we can't do this. They have to move along. But for the moment, they're back. They're staying. And we'll see how long this lasts. I suppose the bottom line is, if I find I am only wearing them twice a year, maybe I'll go through this again next year. Or maybe I won't. The shoes were like I said, around $30, $35. I'm going to look it up. Oh gosh, they were only $30. So, the mom on my shoulder is saying, $30 shoes, don't get rid of those. That's a good bargain. Yeah. That's part of what's going on. But I don't know. It is an eccentricity. If I can wear them more than a couple of times a year, then maybe I'll consider it worth it. But now that we're through with that, now that I'm through beating myself up in public over this, yes, I said I was getting rid of them. No, I'm not. The other thing that I discovered as I was going through my list is I really did end up with the shoe collection I want and need. If I include the Nostalgia Self's clogs and my winter boots, a pair of backup boots. These are when I got a pair of boots, they were a good deal, and I bought another pair because they were closing them out and I knew I would want them later. And my 2 pair of running shoes, and I always keep 2 pair. As soon as 1 pair goes, I replace it so that I always have 2 pair at any given moment, mostly because I don't want to end up not being able to go out walking simply because something's happened to my shoes. They've gotten wet or they've gotten muddy and I haven't bothered to wash them or whatever. Things happen to your shoes, especially when, you're wearing them out at the crack of dawn. So all of those together, we're looking at, I believe, 19 pair of shoes. More than I thought it would be, but less than it could have been. But the thing is, I'm happy with it. I'm looking at this saying anything I need is covered in this set of shoes. For the rest of my life, it's my one and done. So that pleased me. But again, that's not a psychologically healthy way to look at this, because I am imposing a framework on clothing that just doesn't work. Clothing is not, you buy it now, you never have to buy it again. And I just can't snap my mind into that process. But nevertheless, I'm taking my victories where I can get them, because I did have disappointments. I was concerned about the overspending on socks. I was concerned about overspending in other areas, and we're running past our time limit. So maybe we'll just carry this on next weekend. It depends. If you're interested, we will. If you're not, we'll move on to something else. But I had overspending in other areas. I had a notion that I was going to need more of some things than I actually did need, and a notion that I would need less of others. It didn't work out the way I planned. Now, I suppose the good news is, for things I've overpurchased, the socks, well, they're socks. They don't take up that much room, and they'll be there forever because socks are socks. But what about other things? What about things like the incredible number of t-shirts I got? Oh, come on. Now, I know, some of you are probably thinking t-shirts are t-shirts. They'll always be there. Yeah, no. I've already sort of lost enough weight so that at least 4 of them are in the donation box already. So that, I think, is something probably worth revisiting when we get back together next weekend. What happened? Why did I do it? And what are my plans for avoiding this in the future? Oh, and by the way, I am totally open to your suggestions on this, because if you've found ways to keep yourself from overbuying or from underbuying, absolutely, I want to know about it. So what do we have? Yes, I was pretty much on target with my sleepwear, with the exception of socks, but I have so many different pair of socks in there that I can switch out my sleep socks every day of the week for months and I won't even notice. But yes, I can easily crib a couple extra pair, and I did already. A couple pair that are probably more suitable as sleep socks than they are out in the community. So I was able to fix that. But my sock buying binge, no. And I also have to confess that looking at my shoes and saying, well, we're at like 20 pair of shoes, it's kind of a problem. So I need to look at that and see if there are areas in which I can find things I won't be replacing. Because I've got them now, I'm using them. But for me at least, if something goes the way of all stuff, my first inclination is to go out and replace it. I'm not sure I will be replacing some of these shoes. So that, I think, is something I'm going to have to work on. But as I say, there were other surprises, other learning opportunities in this. We just don't have time for any of those left today. All right, we are going to take a look at a slideshow on the way out. We looked at Rebel and Marley yesterday, so we are going to take a look at one of the slideshows I have with Kelly when she was just a little girl in it. So, have a terrific day.